Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
Packers with the victory over the Steelers last night. Again, 35-25. Jordan Love looked good. Tucker Kraft looked good. Who would you give some game balls to? Maybe kind of give us a little bit, obviously Jordan Love, Tucker Kraft, they got the game balls from Matt LaFleur after the game last night. But if you could hand a game ball to somebody else, who would it be? And maybe give a shout out to maybe a little bit of an under the radar type of performer from last night's game. But all the pageantry leading into this thing, Rodgers going up against his former team, and we get it. The majority of the talk was Rodgers going up against the Pack and et cetera, et cetera. But, as we were kind of talking about last week too, don't forget it's also Jordan Love, the protege, going up against the mentor, and all the talk about revenge game this, revenge game that, and a lot of people not believing Rodgers when he says it's not a revenge game and that. But, also a lot of people too, I think, kind of ignoring the fact that it's Jordan Love going up against Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love going up against the Steelers defense, but what we're getting at here. But I just thought, like, from a national side, it was like, oh, Rodgers going up against the Steelers or the Packers, his former team. And I get it. It's, future Hall of Famer, 4-time MVP, spent 18 years with Green Bay. That's the storyline. But also felt like it kind of got swept under the rug if everybody thought, okay, Rodgers is going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder or that motivating factor going up against his former team. Well, there's probably going to be a little bit with Love, and Love kind of admitted to it too. He's like, yeah, I want to play well. I want to. He said it afterwards last night. Yeah, a little bit more pressure and such with the magnitude of going up against Rodgers and that. And I thought Love rose to it easily. I'm kind of curious, what the Jordan Love naysayers have to say this morning, or have to say after that performance last night, although I did see a couple people already come at me and say, well, Jordan Love threw up a prayer and, Tucker Kraft pass interference and made the catch. Oh, Jordan Love still can't, when moments get too tough, he can't perform in that. It's like, okay, those are the people who are just not willing to admit that, Jordan Love's a pretty darn good quarterback, which he is. He is a very, very good quarterback. And the dude showed out last night. 20 straight completions, tying Favre, which if you would have said, trivia question, who holds the Packers record for the most consecutive completions? I think majority of people probably would have said Aaron Rodgers or Bart Starr. Not Brett Favre, but it was Brett Favre. But now it's Brett Favre and Jordan Love. So 360, 3 touchdowns, quarterback rating of a 134.2 compared to Rodgers, who was 24 of 36, 219 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 sacks, quarterback rating of a 101.5. Difference, a lot of it was Love. Got the benefit of some yak there too, but average per pass 9.7 for Love, 6.1 for Aaron Rodgers. Tucker Kraft on National Tight Ends Day, dude balled out, 7 catches, $143 for 2 touchdowns. He is, I might have a couple more, but he is my first thought for our Monday morning. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. I'm not saying Tucker Kraft is a top 5 tight end in the National League, but I'm just saying he's the best right now. For my money, that dude is elevating his stock, his status into one of the most premier tight ends in the National Football League. Okay? Does he have the star power of a Kelsey or a Kittle? No, he doesn't, but he is elevating his status into that. I mean, leading tight ends in yak yards after the catch. That's what you want from a tight end too, right? You don't want these big bruising tight ends just to make the catch and then, get tackled right away. You want your tight end to be able to bulldoze and run up the field and take on defenders and get over them and such, and that's exactly what Tucker Kraft is doing. And in my opinion, he is a complete tight end, a very good blocker in the running game. Tucker Kraft is making his name more known across the football world, the National Football League. Easily one of the best top tight ends in the game right now. Right now. I don't think you can really argue it. I mean, just looking at what he has done within this offense so far. I mean, he's tied for third all across. This includes, receiving touchdowns, 6. The man is off to a Pro Bowl start this year. He's off to an amazing start this year. And this is, go back to the offseason. Well, it was one of the things that Packers fans were clamoring for. Let's get Tucker Kraft more involved. We got to get the ball to Tucker Kraft more. Let's get him. And then this is exactly what Green Bay's doing so far this year. If you just look at tight ends in receiving yards, Kraft has the second most, 469. The only one that's above him, Tyler Warren from the Colts, 492. If we look at touchdown catches, Dallas Goedert's tied for the league lead with 7. And then Jake Ferguson and Tucker Kraft are right there with 6. So, I mean, Kraft's consistently up there. And you look at average yards per game. Who's the number one tight end? Tucker Kraft. Dude is, for my money, when I look at a lot of tight ends, and there's some good ones. Let's not kid ourselves. There are some really, really good tight ends in this league. And some really good young tight ends. But right now, Tucker Kraft, man, can easily make the case that he's far and away above him. I mean, look at the yak, the yards after catch, okay? If we just look at it, this is running backs and wide receivers and tight ends. Christian McCaffrey is the league leader with 442. Bijan Robinson, 386. That's 2 running backs, which those 2 makes a lot of sense, right? Then it's Jamar Chase at 356. And then you got Tucker Kraft, 4th most yards after catch. Tyler Warren is the next tight end at 7, 293. I mean, dude is awesome. And if you haven't listened, I mean, let's rewind it here a little bit. Going back to the conclusion of last season. After that loss to the Eagles, who was one of the guys that was, after that game, day after, locker room clean out, kind of calling out the team, saying, we got to wake up? It was Tucker Kraft, saying he wanted to be, he felt like he needed to rise to being more of a leader. This year, he gets elected as a team captain. And if you watch a lot of the locker room videos, post-game videos, when LaFleur's talking to the team and handing out game balls, and you notice the last couple weeks, Tucker's been talking to the team afterwards. Obviously, he did this one with getting presented a game ball and such. But you watch a lot of that, and you just could tell that leadership, and you could tell he's a guy that backs up a lot of what he says. But what a fantastic night for him. What a fantastic night for Jordan Love last night. Between those two. And then, if we were to hand out a game ball to somebody who maybe gets overshadowed in this game or such, there's 2 that really stood out to me right away. Christian Watson showcased why he is a vital player within this offense. I mean, they said that he was pretty much, they were going to ease him on in, snap count and such, and Christian Watson making plays, big-time catches. He is a downfield guy, but also getting involved in the run blocking. He is their best. We've talked about it. He is probably their best run blocker from a wide receiver standpoint. And that Josh Jacobs touchdown, you had Christian Watson with a fantastic block on the edge. He may not always stack up or he may not always bust out in the stat sheets or the box scores, but Christian Watson gave us a glimpse or showcase last night of how vital he is to this offense and how much he is important to this offense. He does a lot of the stuff that maybe doesn't, show up in top 10 plays every week. And I thought last night he was a big reason why Green Bay came away with that victory. Was some big plays. It was only 4 catches, but some big catches. And some big-time blocks. I mean, not only the Josh Jacobs one, but the Tucker Kraft touchdown, the first Tucker Kraft touchdown. Who was one of the blockers leading the way? It was Christian Watson. Christian Watson is incredibly important to this team's, to the offense and the offense's success. And I think you got to give a ton of credit to Emmanuel Wilson. Josh Jacobs is the bell cow. Josh Jacobs is one of the better running backs in this game. I don't know if the calf injury was just, kind of a little bit of an issue. You heard Mike Tomlin heading into halftime. You could tell it was definitely a key for them to stop Josh Jacobs, to focus a lot on Josh Jacobs. But Emmanuel Wilson stepped in and provided a nice spark to this team. 11 carries for 61 yards. Also, 3 catches for 26 yards. I mean, Emmanuel Wilson's not going to be taking over. I saw some people say he's not taking over for Josh Jacobs or anything like that. But he provided a nice spark for this offense that kind of got things going a little bit too. And sometimes it's just those guys that can do it. It's that guy, like even Malik Heath a couple times last night. Malik Heath, 3 catches for 29 yards. He made a couple plays. It's those type of players, those role players, those backup players, when they get an opportunity or they get the ball and they make something out of it. That's what kind of gets a little spark going. Emmanuel did that last night. When Josh Jacobs it wasn't his night. Steelers were incredibly focused on Josh Jacobs. Emmanuel Wilson comes in and provides a really, really good spark for this team. Not everything was perfect and hunky-dory for Green Bay last night. Obviously the first half, Green Bay got a touchdown, takes the lead 7-3. It's like, okay, here we go. Come on, now let's maybe put up a big number. Let's have a comfortable game in that. Oh, and then just couldn't get it going. Just kind of like was sputtering a little bit. And let's call it for what it is. That first half from Keyshawn Nixon was not good. Was not good. He struggled. Got better in the second half, but not sure what he was doing on that deep ball in the first half, whether he got caught up or not playing the ball or giving up on it a little. I mean, I don't know if he looked really, really out of sorts. Pass interference. I mean, for cornerback number 1, he's got to play better. He's got to be more consistent. But I'll tell you which corner played really well last night. That was Carrington Valentine. You want to talk about another player that I think you can hand a game ball to for being an underappreciated, overlooked player? That was Carrington Valentine last night. Nate Hobbs played 3 snaps. I think it was the final number I saw. 3 snaps. Their free agent signing. 4 years, $48 million, who had a rough game last week. 3 snaps in this game. They gave Carrington Valentine an opportunity, and Carrington Valentine played incredibly well. Yep, that last touchdown kind of got burned a little bit, but he fought through it. If that's not in the end zone, that probably is a breakup pass, but still, I don't want to, absolve him of that. But Carrington Valentine made some big-time plays in that game last night, too. Going up against guys like DK Metcalf. Carrington Valentine should be playing a lot more going forward. I don't think you could say that Carrington Valentine isn't a top 2 corner on this team right now. It's another I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. I'm not saying Carrington Valentine is a number 1 corner or is a, number 1 corner in this league, but I'm just saying he's a top 2 corner on this team right now. And I'm just saying he deserves more of an opportunity. He brings a little bit of a swag element. Yes, he has he kind of gets a little cocky and such on the field, and I know for some people that rubs people the wrong way. But I honestly feel like to play corner in this league, you kind of have to have a little bit of that mentality. As long as you back it up. Nothing bugs me more than you got like a chirpy player who just is awful and can't back it up. Carrington Valentine is playing well, and he deserves to continue to get more reps and opportunities out there on the field. I don't think the book is closed on Nate Hobbs. It's just you got to play who's playing the best football right now, and that's Carrington Valentine. Let's catch up on some of the texts and comments here this morning. We'll go to our YouTube video stream to kick it off. We got Digital saying Victory Monday. Zach says, good morning. Happy Victory Monday. How about this little nugget? First victory for the Pack since what, like 1970 in Pittsburgh? Yeah, believe it was Bart Starr the last time the Packers won in Pittsburgh. Rodgers, Favre never won in Pittsburgh. Zach also says Tucker Kraft is a monster. He's a top 5 in my book, on pace to be number 1. Mark says Christian Watson should get a game ball. Surveyor Sam says, what a game, obvious game ball to talk and love, but Edge had a heck of a game, and how about Christian Watson, man? Missed that guy. And what was going on with the officiating? Refs really need to be held accountable for poor performances. A grading scale needs to happen like PFF, but for the refs. That was atrocious on both sides. Blatant missed calls and then phantom makeups. It was just bad. Yeah, I mean, twice. Whether it was the false starts by Jones, the left tackle from the Steelers, or offsides by the Packers. I mean, you have 2 officials watching the line of scrimmage, right? They're lined up right there. How do you miss the items like that? How do you miss those 2? I thought were like clear and obvious. How do you miss that? And I think there's going to be a discussion. And I know Collinsworth last night, and I give credit to Collinsworth for bringing this up. But the replay assistance, at what point does strategy and stuff get involved with that? You had a when I'm talking about the touchdown catch by the Steelers, the last one there, a little over 2 minutes, and the call on the field was incomplete, didn't have control. Replay assistants came in and said, nope, it is a touchdown. And what Collinsworth and others have been bringing up now is like, okay, but at what point does replay assistants come in and correct it compared to where you have to challenge that play? And I thought it was a big question. There's a line there. And yes, it was a touchdown. It was clear. And Terry McCauley explained, the differences being if it's a clear, miscall, then that's where replay assistance comes in. If it's a call where you have to look at different angles, and then that's where you come in with a challenge. But I think it does bring up an interesting point, and maybe a conversation going forward is, from a strategy standpoint, you had a team that didn't have any more challenges left. Over 2 minutes. I think that conversation is going to be brought up. It's like, okay, but at what point should replay assistants come in, and at what point, does that hey, this is why you have to be careful with your timeouts, or you have to hold on to a challenge? I don't know. I think it's an interesting discussion that probably will happen down the line. Jeremy says game balls go to Manuel Wilson, provided a spark to a lackluster running game. Cooper on the defense. He was everywhere last night. Rare special teams won. Bull Melton stayed in the lane, made tackles. Need more of that from special teams. Overall, game was a tale of two halves. They need to start the game better, but the second half might have been the best half of football they played all year. Special teams needs to get better still. Defense has some things to clean up, but they did what they needed to just win the game. C-Bomb says, what a game. They finally battled through adversity and turned up the heat. Happy to see when they got the lead, they didn't get lazy. Everyone blowing up on McManus. Just stop. The guy's been money for a year. He missed 2 kicks. Every kicker misses. Remember what it was like for a couple years until he came along. Haversick did well for a couple weeks, but he's been cut and bounced around for a reason. It is worth mentioning how quiet everyone is around Jordan Love's dominant performance. By everyone, I mean national media. Is it because he's so quiet and calm? The dude has one of the best games of Packers history last night, and it's barely mentioned. Mike says a big shout-out to all the Packers fans who made the trip to Pittsburgh to support the team. Chants of Go Pack Go were music to my ears. Rodgers did even mention it in his post-game presser, too, that they had to go to a silent count at times because of the Go Pack Go chants. And as he mentioned, he's heard those chants for 18 years, so probably didn't surprise him, as he knows Pack. This is what I think impressed me the most with Packers fans. I mean, that's Pittsburgh. And when you talk about fan bases, top fan bases that travel well or support well or just come out and support their team, and that Pittsburgh, Green Bay is always up in there too. The fact that enough Packers fans infiltrated Pittsburgh to make it that loud, that's a huge tip of the cap, and fans probably deserve a game ball for that too. I mean, we could hear it. I could clearly hear it. And at times you just kind of wonder, okay, is it really that loud, or is it just the mics, TV mics, kind of, picking it up so it sounds a little bit louder? But when you hear Aaron Rodgers say we had to go to a silent count in Pittsburgh, Arizona, I get it. Last week, you get it. Jacoby Brissett said they had to go to a silent count. Okay, but Pittsburgh, in Pittsburgh, that's a huge, big-time shout-out to Packers fans for that, for making it, not just going there, but making it loud for your team. That's super impressive. Very impressive. So, just a quick correction. I said Nate Hobbs played 3. It looks like he actually played 4 snaps. Carrington Valentine played 62 of the 63 snaps. This is from Matt Schneidman, who just posted this a few minutes ago, covers the Packers for The Athletic. Yeah. I know Halfley and LaFleur had the back of Nate Hobbs all week, but they had to do something. They had to do something. And I think going forward, you continue to play Carrington Valentine outside. I'm sure they're going to try to figure out ways to get Nate Hobbs involved and back and get some snaps here and there, because, I mean, they made an investment on him, but dude ain't playing up to that level right now. And I think you got to continue to play Carrington Valentine. I don't think there's any question about it right now. Any question about it. Other things that kind of stood out from last night's game. I mean, we talked a little bit about, Rashawn Gary, Micah Parsons, able to get after the quarterback. And again, tip of the cap to Collinsworth. I thought he made a few really good points in the game last night, for that defense to really get after it. Try to get the Steelers in negative situations or like 3rd and long situations, win on those early downs. And he was exactly right. You get to the Steelers, they want to get the ball out quick and such, but if you get them in those 3rd and long situations, that's when they really struggle. And then you saw Micah Parsons in third and long situations kind of lining up over the middle and coming up the middle. And that, I think, really affected Rodgers in the passing game and not able to pick up those first downs outside that big, long, deep pass down the sidelines and such. But, the pressure and collapse in the pocket, getting after Rodgers a little bit. 3 sacks, 2 from Gary, 1 from Micah Parsons. But the pocket collapsing around him. And I thought, too, coverage-wise, from those linebackers like Cooper, they were pretty darn solid. They were pretty solid for those short, intermediate throws. For the most part, I thought they were pretty darn good last night.